From the land that brought us Kentucky Fried Chicken, straight bourbon whiskey to wash it down, and the acoustic sound of bluegrass music, today plays host to the ARCA Menards Series Stock Car Racing from Kentucky next on FS1. The green flag is out, and we are racing. 5 wide! Still grinding on each other. This is going to happen all afternoon. Oh, look at contact. Here he comes inside. Look at that push, side by side. Trouble. Oh, it is getting good. And we are racing in the ARCA Menards Series. Purpose-built in 1998 to bring NASCAR to the state of Kentucky. This weekend, it is indeed a bluegrass buffet as all of NASCAR's touring series are at Kentucky Speedway, including the ARCA Menards Series for today's running of the General Tire 150. Already 2 nights of at NASCAR Xfinity racing Thursday, Friday, but today it's that sunshine that's going to definitely come into play. Hello, everyone. I am Dave Reef alongside of the 2-time Sparta, Kentucky winner, Todd Bodine, also 2-time truck champion. Todd, we saw Austin Cindric dominate those Xfinity races, but behind him there was plenty of fireworks, there was tire screeching, there was fighting going on. It was all about fighting that racetrack, which definitely is going to come into play today. In fact, it's our big story, which is why we start with our General Tire track description.
Absolutely, Dave. You know, it's not the numbers on this racetrack that's a story this weekend. It's the traction compound on this racetrack that is the story. We watched in the Xfinity race. These guys ran the very bottom of that black traction compound. One groove racetrack. If you got below it in the gray, you had your hands full and you were slow. If you got above that first groove in the traction compound, up in that dark area, you had your hands full and more likely you backed it in the wall. The one groove racetrack. And I think today, the temperature outside, the sunshine outside, it's going to make all the difference in the world. And that second groove is going to come in. We know that traction compound needs heat to get it activated, and we got heat today.
Well, it's definitely got a new General Tire as well this week, and that's why they had some extended track time. But one of the things we heard a lot about practice today, cars being tight. So that means when it comes to drivers to watch, experience is definitely going to play a role. And one of those guys that has that is Michael Self in the Sinclair Toyota. 2 of his 8 series wins have come on 1.5-mile tracks. He hopes to add another one in 150 miles.
Haley Deegan and her DJR Crosley Ford, all top 10s this year. She only has one other start on a 1.5 miles, and that was Kansas, where she finished 8th. This is her first time at Kentucky.
Ty Gibbs
and
what a run he's having lately.
Yes, sir. JGR Monster Energy Ford Toyota, first time at Kentucky. But the one thing we know about him is he's got a fast car.
Hey, this is Sam Mayer. He happens to be the youngest kid in the field, but still winless, all those 7 podiums in 13 races. Today, though, that definitely could change. He has got a great race car, and he is our Bounty Rookie Spotlight driver. A few moments ago, the 3rd member of our FS1 team, Alan Cavana, caught up with the Wisconsin racer.
At just 17 years old, Sam Mayer has already accomplished a lot in his racing life, but he has never raced at a 1.5 mile track like this one at Kentucky. The good thing is you had one practice, you made more laps than anybody, and you were faster than anybody. What kind of pressure does that bring?
Yeah, it definitely brings a lot of pressure knowing that you have probably the fastest car out here, and you just got to take care of it. I mean, it's definitely one heck of a racetrack for sure with the VHT running the top. It's a lot of fun. You're really going off in the corner hard, and that's something I haven't really felt a lot in the past, but we're doing really good so far out here with our California Strong Chevrolet.
One thing that's going to be a huge difference for you is that you're starting back in this field. How do you overcome that so early when it's going to be tough to pass?
Yeah, we're just going to rely on the brakes, lap 30 and 60, I think, and we're just going to try to ride it out, try to make it through some of the slower traffic at first, and then just ride it out. And then the second stage, we're going to try to make it up to the front and hopefully be leading by the end of the last stage.
That's when the checkered flag flies, and they pay all the points and the win, guys.
Well, when it comes to the Bounty Rookie standings, nobody doing it better so far than Haley Deegan. She's been impressive. Drew Dollar slipped a little bit out at Indianapolis, but he's right there as well.
Yeah, Haley, she's the only driver in the field that's run every lap this year. And as a rookie, that's how you gain experience, is by running every lap. She's done a great job. She stayed out of trouble, got some good finishes because of it.
New look for her this weekend. You see that on the green nose of her race car. You'll be looking at that probably most of the day because she has definitely been the most consistent car. The only driver that hasn't completed all the laps that's close to her, Michael Self. Tire issue the last race he'll try to overcome today. Well, the drivers are strapped in, and it's time to get going. And for our command to start engines, we check in with the parts manager at Cunny Ford in Graham, North Carolina, Chuck Thornton.
On behalf of the employees at County Motor Company and our great partners at General Tire, drivers, start your engines.
I definitely like how it started with that engine, but here come the ones that are going to be competing today at Kentucky Speedway. As you get a look on board at the Sinclair driver, Michael Self. And as we wait for those engines to fire, why don't we just take a moment to talk about the good old bucket list. Things you definitely want to do before you move on to the next life. Like for me, drive a race car. Well, that was the question posed to some of our ARCA Menards Series regulars in this week's General Tire driver profile. Enjoy.
You know, I like finding something that I'm scared of and doing it anyway. You know, I've always wanted to skydive. You know, like my dad and all them, they're always the type that there's no use jumping out of a perfectly good airplane, but I think it'd be pretty fun to do it. Travis Pastrana did it without a parachute. I think I could do it with one at least.
But I want to go skydiving. I want to jump out of a plane and pull a parachute and just fall from the sky. I think that'd be so cool.
I want to get my real estate license and my general contracting license. I've learned to do a lot of remodeling work on my own. It's something I have a little bit of a passion for now. And so I think hopefully those things are all realistic that I can do here in the next couple of years.
I would love to do Indy cars. You just see how much downforce they have and how fast they are and how much fast they can take the corners. And my dad was going to hate me for saying that because he will not let me drive anything like open cockpit. Yeah, but I definitely want to try some Indy car stuff.
Indy cars, no way. I've been out of an airplane. It's fun. Todd?
No way. I am not jumping out of a perfectly good airplane.
Well, don't worry, because I'll be back in 3 minutes for the green flag. In the meantime, my time.
Welcome to Kentucky Speedway. Drivers, start your engines. Trading off from third to first on the restart. He will clear them. That's how we roll. Four wide to the bottom. Terry to the front. What you got from me? Big crash, big crash. That car is destroyed. Just wait and see.
What we got for you today, ARCA Menards Series racing for the first time in Kentucky since 2017. It's the General Tire 150, getting close to go time. As the field makes its way around Kentucky Speedway, an opportunity now to talk about our General Tire Pole Award. Again, racing under ARCA protocol due to everything that's going on. It was set up by owner points, and Michael Self's owner, Kathy Venturini, gets him the General Tire Pole Award. Back-to-back races now for Michael Self, a guy who, granted, it's not based on qualifying, but he's become a pretty good qualifier nonetheless. Here's the entire starting grid. The General Tire starting grid shows Toyotas in the first two rows. Michael Self alongside Orion Repco, Ty Gibbs, and Drew Dollar in row number 2.
Row 3, Brett Holmes and Haley Deegan. We're keeping an eye on both of those guys today.
Thad Moffitt's the grandson of Richard Petty. He's got the only Petty legacy. They never did race here at Kentucky Speedway.
Tanner Gray starting in the middle of the field. Will be fun to watch him come to the front.
Derek Griffin coming up in row number 7. Another one to keep your eyes on in that Lollipops car, number 22. The 2018 Pro All-Star Series racer rolls off 13th.
Sam Mayer, the kid that everybody's looking at, starting way back deep, said he's going to take his time getting to the front. We'll see.
Over 350-plus starts for Brad Smith. He's the one with the most experience here, who started 16th. Jason Kitzmiller starts scratch on the 17th. Brad Smith with 21 starts here. On board now with that Bounty Rookie Spotlight camera, Sam Mayer. So he'll be one to definitely keep your eyes on. Here's Thad Moffitt, the grandson.
And the K&N filters on board.
Richard Petty, the great-grandson of Lee Petty. He always gets shuffled out of this thing, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's been consistent. Ty Gibbs, he's always had a fast car this year, and we'll see if what he can do with it here.
And in the Richmond Water Heaters onboard camera, it's Ryan Repco, who's starting second. His 5th career start, did get a 2nd place finish in Talladega. And then, of course, on pole is the guy in the Sinclair, number 25. It's Michael Self, the Daytona winner this year, looking to add another 1.5-mile Speedway win to his resume. Already has a couple of them. This, the first time we're going 1.5-mile racing on the ARCA Menards Series this year. 5 Toyotas, 6 Chevys, 6 Fords. Time to little boot scoot here in Kentucky style with the ARCA Menards series. Right away it is Self, followed in tow by the 20 car. Sharing time with Chandler Smith, Ryan Repko with a solid start. Same story for Ty Gibbs, the 18.
Haley's the only one stuck on the bottom. We watched those Xfinity guys struggle down there on the starts and restarts. See what happens here.
Hold on, she's shuffling up the track.
She slid up. They had to give way. She was making her way into the front of Brett Holmes right there.
Look at Thad Moffitt on the inside of Drew Dollar. Dollar, though, driving by in that 15 car on the outside.
Yeah, Tad was obviously paying attention in the Xfinity Series. He let up quite a bit getting in that corner.
Again, you can kind of see these racers fighting these race cars. The thing we kept hearing over and over and over again from practice today. Tight, tight, tight. How do you loosen up a race car on a day like today?
Well, there's several ways of doing it. You know, the track bar, the wedge, tire pressure. You know, these guys had a little bit of practice today, so they had an idea where they needed to start with the cars and the setups, and that's why I think we've seen this such a clean start here.
17, that's Tanner Gray back in the seat of that car is the 23. Brett Holmes makes his way to the inside of Haley Deegan. Now looking to the inside of 20. That's Ryan Repko. Holmes now battling for the 3rd position. 3 racers for 3 spots.
We watched Brian get down in that corner. He got a little loose, and luckily Haley was back a little, slid up in front of her, and everything turned out fine.
You know, you might say you're going to see a race today with some mood swings. Cars that aren't going to be real happy about being pushed in the corner so hard. So somebody that could be right on top of somebody in one moment, they'll have to get out of throttle, and they're going to fall back.
Absolutely. You know, we watch these guys racing real close, and they get each other loose, and they push each other in the corner. But right here, these guys, they've all settled in, make some laps here, and figure out what they got. You know, we've got a lot of first-timers here, and they just need to settle in and figure it out.
Car in the meat in that sandwich is Brett Holmes, who's putting together a very good year. The question mark at the beginning of the season, would the Alabama racer make all of the starts this year? Well, based on their points position, he's considering that. Still looking for that first win, hoping it can come today.
He's looking real good right here. His car's really rolling the center of the corner, getting good drive off, getting back in that throttle. I think Repko going to have a little issue here with him.
Well, 20 car's been strong all year. You know what Chandler Smith's been able to do in that. In fact, Chandler Smith has won 7 of the last 11 races. He's entered in the 20, but this time Repko gets above that fine line of the traction compound. Holmes slides by into the number 3 spot.
Yeah, we watched Ryan get down that corner. His car just didn't quite turn the center very well. Slid up, and that gave Brett an open door to get back to the throttle and get by him.
Right behind these guys is the 4 of Haley Deegan now, who's found herself slide back a little bit. Alan, what's going on with the 4 machine?
Yeah, Haley Deegan just logging laps right now, and she says that's her biggest challenge of the year. Remember, she's the only driver in the ARCA Series to complete all the laps in the series so far this season. But still, she says the lack of practice time, the lack of track time is still really hurting her so far. She says she'll do just about anything to get some lap time. She hit a go-kart. This week she went to Millbridge Speedway, which is a small dirt track just north of Charlotte, North Carolina, and she went in some micro sprint races. I said, what'd you learn that you can apply to Kentucky Speedway? And she says, I'm not quite sure, but maybe I can throw some sliders today in the corner.
Boy, look at that car twitching through that corner.
Exactly. I'll tell you what, if she's logging laps, Alan, she is logging them with her hands full. That thing is loose all the way through the corner. We saw her running up a little high. Now she's trying to gather up, just use all the racetracks she can. She's got her hands full right now, for sure.
It's a 100-lap or 150-mile race today. As you look at Seth Smith, her crew chief. Sam Mayer coming from the back. Tanner Gray finding himself, or rather the 21 car finding himself. No, that is Mayer and Tanner Gray racing side by side here in the corner.
Sam down there in that gray made it work. He held his ground with Tanner. We'll see what happens down here. 3 and 4. Yeah, Tanner couldn't quite hold it. Sam got back to the throttle. Good pass. This is the first time on a 1.5 miles for Sam, and looks like he's picked up on it right away.
There was more on the 21. Here's Allen again.
And we're watching Sam Mayer pick them off just one by one. Again, never been to this track before, and the way to practice that was to go on the simulator. But even there, he only had 2 hours of simulator time, and he said, you know, that helps, but the simulator doesn't simulate that sticky stuff in the corners. So we're watching him learn as this race progresses. He's already up to 7th place from his 15th starting spot.
Little did we know how important the simulator would become. But we'll talk more about that as we are now 10 laps down. 90 to go here as Michael Self leads for the 3rd time this season. But it is way too early to call this one in Kentucky.
You can't fake greatness. Not on the track.
Oh no, the leader, Austin Cindric. Left front tire looks like it might be down, Brendan. Down the front straightaway, and for the 2nd time this season, Ryan Reed will take the checkers. 7 drivers have picked up their first career win this season. Can Cindric add his name to the list? And Austin Cindric will get his first career win in ARCA.
The Creed is right on him. And here comes Zane Smith coming to the bottom side. Ontario is going to take the checkered flag.
Who will add their name to the list of 19 previous ARCA Menards Series winners today at Kentucky? That's the question that we will answer by the end of the General Tire 150. As you see the leader, Michael Self, pacing himself, getting a drink of water because the caution is out. That is because the 69 car has found the going tough. He has pancaked the right side of that car. That is Scott Melton out of Rockford, Michigan, who was running 11th at the time of this incident.
Yeah, we see it here. Him and Derek Griffith and Jason Kitzmiller had a heck of a race going here, and he was holding them off, doing well.
Now Kitzmiller getting to the side of the 10 car.
Yep. So we'll see how he goes out of the picture there. Must have just pushed up off the wall, off the racetrack up into the wall, trying to get everything he could out of it, trying to stay in front of those guys. Yeah, there you go. Maybe.
Happened right in front of Michael Self, your leader, getting ready to put the 11th place runner a lap down. But for Scott Melton, the insurance man out of Michigan, who started racing just 2 years ago at age 56, this is not the way he wanted his first start at Kentucky to go.
Yeah, that thing's hurt pretty good. Looked like they're working on the right front A-frame. He's not going to be in contention for sure. Michael Self, though, having it his way, leading and driving away from him, looking good.
He had about an almost 3-second lead over Ty Gibbs. And Alan, you have more on the 17-year-old driving the 18 car.
Yeah, not much on the radio from Ty Gibbs. They just said over the radio that he was a little too free getting into the corners, trying to chase down Michael Self. I asked Ty Gibbs just before this race started. Remember, they did have a practice here in the ARCA series. I said, what'd you learn? What'd you learn about this place? He says, look, it's going to be tough to pass. I'm going to have to be real aggressive. So let's wait for that opportunity to see if he can catch the 25 car, guys, and see how aggressive he will be.
Aggressive on a razor's edge?
Well, I don't know if we've ever seen Ty Gibbs not be aggressive.
That's a good point.
That's
Mark.
man, he gets it done.
That's Mark McFarland, his crew chief, pondering what kind of moves they will make at the upcoming race break here coming in just about 11 laps. So an early caution here has brought a momentary pause. I mentioned race breaks. We're going to have a couple of those. It's part of the new ARCA racing protocol, trying to keep the number of crew guys down, making things a little bit easier on the teams. And we're going to have 2 of them today, coming at lap 30 and lap 60. It's a great topic for debate, but for me, it makes some things very interesting, like the next 10-lap dash we're going to have, the ensuing restart after that at lap 60. It brings some drama.
It brings a lot of drama with the restarts, but the thing that I really like about it is it's a cost-saving measure for the owners. You know, they don't have to bring a full pit crew. They can bring a skeleton crew, still get the job done, still race up and do the things they need to do without having to spend a bunch of money. So I applaud ARCA for making that decision to have the pit stops this way.
Tanner Gray, Derek Griffith, both of those cars, the 17 and the 22 now on pit road. The one thing you cannot do during this type of caution, other than a race break, change tires or add fuel to the car. So you're just going to see some adjustments to the back.
Yeah, you see them both here. It looks like they're adjusting a wedge, putting it in or taking it out. Not sure which, but that'll definitely change the handling of the car. And it's a great opportunity to be able to do this. And then when they come in for the break, they know what more adjustments they can make to make it even better.
A lot of racers doing that. Willie Mullins, you saw him on the racetrack too. And you saw Tanner Gray Last week, his brother made his ARCA Menards Series debut a solid one. Tanner, meanwhile, about ready to compete in 375 miles of action today. As we get a look now at the General Tire Super Speedway Challenge, the race within a race with the 25 team, led by Kathy Venturini, and that popped tire issue there in Indianapolis means Bill Venturini and Drew Dollar in the 15 have taken over that Super Speedway Challenge race. This is the 4th race of 7 throughout the course of the 2020 year. With more on Drew Dollar, let's check in with Alan again.
And Drew Dollar sitting there last we saw him, Sam Mayer was trying to get past the 15 car that you see on track. Drew Dollar started this race in 4th and just a little too tight right now. His crew chief also says he spun the tires on the start and hasn't quite recovered. But when you look at the practice sheet, they weren't up there amongst the leaders there. So they're kind of picking up where they left off, which was not too good in that practice. Remember, Drew Dollar has that win in Talladega, so we expect something out of him. Right now, they got some stuff to fix, though.
Well, Drew Dollar and his team trying to loosen up that car again. The theme of the day in practice was tight. 21 down, still plenty to go. Green flag when we come back to Sparta, Kentucky at the General Tire 150. Back with the ARCA Menards Series, the General Tire 150 coming to the green flag of what will be a quick dash to the first race break. A great opportunity for Ty Gibbs in that monster car, trying to rattle the cage of Michael Self.
Didn't get through the gears real well. Brett Holmes able to get up in front of him. We'll see if Ty can run with Michael Selfer for these last few laps, see what he can compare and see what his car is to the leader.
We talked about the traction compound. That another way of saying that is track position. I mean, when you're coming to a race break, and you want that option to have the starting on the inside or the outside.
Absolutely. You know, that's maybe why Ryan Repko fell back in his 4th there to be able to be 4th on the restart after that break. That's where you want to be rather than 3rd.
This is juicing up. This is looking good. Gibbs is staying all over the back bumper itself. Heading into a tricky turn 3.
Right up on the back of Michael. Getting him a little loose there. Makes the turn underneath him. Let's see what happens getting into 1.
And
he's got to run.
We got a new race leader. It's Ty Gibbs.
What a great pass. Set him up, getting in the
Here comes Holmes on the bottom to take 2nd away. Self left alone on the outside now. Well, one guy who did not want to see that early race caution is now the 3rd place runner. And it happened in a blink.
Looks like Michael's car didn't run the same after that break. It's definitely not as fast.
Back in the field, a battle for 6th. Drew Dollar has a rearview mirror full of Sam Mayer, the California Strong car this weekend.
Sam getting through the center of the corner really well right there. Got right back, drove it down in there, got back to the throttle. That's looking good right there.
2 races ago, it was the AO1 Foundation car for Carson Wentz of the NFL's Philadelphia Eagles. Last week in Indianapolis, the Brogdon Family Foundation.
A little loose right there.
Of the NBA. This time it's Kristen Yelich, Jared Goff, Mike Moustakis. Non-profits of NBA, NFL players just carrying the love of Sam Mayer. Every one of these athletes love what Sam's able to do. Here's Deegan to the inside of 20. This is a battle for 4th.
Well, you got to be careful getting down to this corner now. Oh, Repko lets her go, stays up, gives her the line. See Haley wiggle a little bit, slide up the track.
So this last 8-lap dash has produced at least 3 passes and a new race leader. As Gibbs leads Holmes, Michael Self is now 3rd, Deegan 4th, Ryan Repko 5th. We saw that battle for 6th. Sam Mayer a part of that. There's the 21. Who's gone up 8 positions since the start. And now you're on board with Thad Moffitt. The K&N Filters on board. Moffitt right now running right behind Mayer in 8th.
Heard Thad working the throttle a little bit. Sounds like he might be a little bit on the tight side running up behind these guys. Thad's been so consistent this year, right? Racing right around the 5th place, 6th place every week, staying out of trouble, doing a great job.
One of the little subplots involves Thad Moffitt. He drives a Ford. Fords have won the last 3 ARCA races in Kentucky. Ford, of course, is what Austin Cindric drove in the Xfinity race, but over the last 13 ARCA events, it's been all Toyotas.
Yeah, they've been a little dominant, but you know, Ford's got some good cars, especially out at DJR Crosley stable. I think they're gonna get some wins here shortly.
Here's the California Strong Car looking to the inside of the dollar machine. That's close quarters racing right there as Sam Mayer will take the position away. Score the 21, now 6th. Every position matters as we're close to that first race break.
That puts them up to 6th, which is the outside lane on the upcoming restart. That's very important right now. Sam did a great job of setting him up down through 1 and 2.
Meanwhile, here is Ty Gibbs, who has now led laps in 11 straight ARCA starts. And when you look at just the laps he's turned so far in 2020, and he hadn't been to every race, he's led the most by far.
Wow, look at that shot and watch his hands. Really smooth on the steering wheel.
There's the caution that has come out now for the first race break. It looks like Ty just went ahead and shut down the race car altogether.
Saving a little fuel. I don't quite understand why. Unless it's a little warm, you can cool it down by shutting the motor off and then restarting it, circulating the water. But he's doing a great job leading the race.
We'll get all the cars on pit lane, then they'll go to work. We'll explain how it all happens when we come back. But Ty Gibbs has led the last 9 races and will lead him back to green when we continue racing after pit stops in Kentucky.
You can't fake greatness. Not on the track and not in the chip aisle. Like a seasoned driver behind the wheel, Hers chips take you from caution flag levels of hunger to checkered flag feelings of satisfaction. When it comes to race day snacks, the signature crunch and endless flavors of Hers leaves the competition in a pile of chip dust. Don't settle for anything less than the champions of the chip aisle. Hers, forever good. Available at Menards.
Major League Baseball on Fox returns July 25th with Fox Saturday Baseball, and we could not be more excited. Baseball is back, and of course America's home for baseball this summer, as always, will be Fox and FS1. Well, the first of 2 race breaks where there is a pit stop procedure that is taking place. All the cars on pit road right now, they will have 5 minutes in each one of these breaks to complete any necessary adjustments. This is the only time that teams are allowed to change tires and add fuel to the race car, but with only 4 guys over the wall at one time, they're not allowed to do tires and fuel at the same time. Of course, we saw a late race change for the lead. Allen with Ty Gibbs took that lead. You have more on the 18 and the man chasing him, the 23.
Yeah, well, Ty Gibbs told me he wanted to be aggressive, and we saw that right after the restart, making that pass of Michael Self in the 25 car. The team actually came over the radio and just told him, great pass, young man, great pass to go there and get the lead. Expect an adjustment. Remember, the 18 was just a little loose. 4 tires, an adjustment, and a water there. That was the call from the crew chief you see on your screen. Just behind him, the driver chasing him was number 23, Brett Holmes. A lot of confidence with that team. They may not be the fastest on the chart right now, but they really do believe they have the best car. They thought that in practice. You could hear it on the radio, them saying that was the best practice we've had all year. He's moved up to 2nd. Got some things to work on, adjustment. They say they're tight in 1 and 2, loose in 3 and 4, but just expect an air pressure adjustment for that 23 car.
Well, this is a team in the 23 that's very, very happy with their speed. And Todd, we were talking during the break there, you know, you look at the Gibbs organization, we know what's behind them. Michael Self, the Venturini clan behind them, but for Brett Holmes, you know, they're kind of an independent team. They don't have any NASCAR backing, not much manufacturer support, but this is a team that's really doing a lot with the little they have.
Yeah, it's a family-owned team getting it done for sure.
Cars completing all the work on pit road. This is how it happened when Ty Gibbs took the lead away from Michael Self at Kentucky. To find victory lane at Kentucky Speedway, you may have to endure fireworks, screeching tires, and post-race discussions. And I'm not just talking about the last couple of nights, Todd Bodine. That's a trademark of this Kentucky track that you know all too well.
Yeah, I've had a couple of run-ins here with Greg Biffle. In the Xfinity Series, ran him down on the lane. Passed me with 8 laps to go on a restart, and I ran him back down. And
who was rubbing on who? Come on, let's be
Well, a little both, goes both ways. You know, he rubbed on me, I rubbed him back, and beat him to victory lane. And here, Hill race passing Kyle for the lead, and you know, our stories differ on this a little bit. I say he pulled down and sucked me around on purpose, and but we
do a good race strategy.
Yeah,
went on a 1 from there.
Yeah, we come in and get some fuel in it. We beat everybody on fuel mileage. We had a fast truck. And so I kind of called Kyle out in victory lane. He didn't like it. He came to visit me a little bit. In victory lane.
Don't think Kyle Busch doesn't pay attention. By the way, Kyle Busch winning in all 4 of NASCAR's professional series here, as well as in Daytona. Big weekend coming up. Gander Trucks coming up. The 225 tonight at 6 p.m. NASCAR Race Hub kicks off our Sunday activities at 2 before the Cup Series races. A 400-miler at 2:30 p.m. Like I said, a busy weekend here in Kentucky. You know how many races you were in together in the Truck Series?
No.
You and Kyle?
No.
101. How many times you have a discussion after him?
The one was a major discussion.
Do you know how many you won? How many he won?
No.
32. Kyle, you 9. These are just notes passed to me that I pass along.
Appreciate that,
Green
Russell.
flag coming back out here as we get going now on lap number 34. Gibbs with control. Holmes on the inside. Michael Self perhaps in a no-win situation. Look at Deegan on the outside.
Brett Holmes with a good start, but looks like Ty Gibbs spun his tires. And see if Brett can make that pay off staying down there. It's tough on that inside. Ty's got the preferred line going into turn 3.
Holmes isn't giving it up, though. Not yet.
Well, yeah, he had to let off there. And Haley getting in front of Michael Self. Starting in that outside is so important on these restarts. The inside is at such a disadvantage.
Look at Sam Mayer on the move, plus 10 positions, trying to make it 11, relegating the man who led 22 laps early back to 5th. But for now, the Sinclair car holding on to the 4th spot.
Michael doing a great job on the bottom of the racetrack, getting back in front of Sam. That's a little unusual. We didn't see any of that in that Xfinity race. Usually on the bottom, you end up getting behind the guy you're under. Oh, Haley gets in a little deep, a little high.
That allows Michael Self to pull alongside. He'll quickly duck to the inside, coming to the start finish line. Will be able to sneak the position away, or will Haley hold on?
Well, Haley has position into this corner. She's running a little higher than I would.
That car wants to break away, too, it looks like.
Still a little on the loose side right there. She's got her hands full still.
And now it's Sam Mayer up to 4th. Deegan back to 5th. Nervous moments early here in the second part of this race. For more on the 25 and the 21, Alan, what you know?
Yeah, don't forget Michael Self in that 25 car. Led all those laps early, but he says he just got a tick loose, and that's when Ty Gibbs and Brett Holmes were able to get by him. Overall, before that stage break, before that segment break, he says it was just a little too tight. They made an air pressure adjustment. They're still happy with the car. That 21, though, that 21 car of Sam Mayer is lurking. They just want him to time his passes better. Remember, he's learning. 17 years old, first time here at Kentucky Speedway. They say if he can learn how to time his passes better heading into the corner, he can get by and get to the lead.
Battle for 6th warming up between Ryan Repko in the 20 and Thad Moffitt. Making that Ford look pretty racy there. The All-Sco colors this weekend.
You mentioned earlier, Thad always racing and competing around 5th, 6th, 7th spot. Always consistent, never putting himself in trouble. Makes a great pass right there on Repko around the outside.
Having a solid year this year.
Absolutely. Puts him back up in 6th.
2 top 5s, 3 top 10s so far for Thad Moffitt. Love his quote heading in. He says, after the race, no matter where I finish, I'll be the highest finishing Petty family member ever. Because none of them ever got a chance to race here.
He's the only one who's ever raced here.
He said it with a grin on his face. I'll give him that.
Love it.
Well, he may not be able to hold on to that position very long because here comes that 20. So strong no matter who's driving it, Repko or Chandler Smith.
Yeah, he got a little tight. Thad get down in 1 and 2, and you can see that he's holding the wheel steady and he's holding his right hand way over. That usually means it's a little bit on the tight side. If you see those guys correcting back to the right, that usually means they're loose, and he's not doing that. He's still a little tight.
So another benefit to these race breaks, you get the opportunity to go out and I guess sort your car out. So if you're a crew chief, what do you want your driver doing? What kind of input are you looking back from him to be able to make these adjustments for the final one?
Well, with about 10 laps to go in the race before the race break, you want to ask him, what do you got? And you got to as a driver, you want to give them good feedback. A little tight getting in, or a little loose getting in, a little tight in the middle. You know, all the little things that can make a difference. You know, sometimes I could actually tell the crew chief, you know, I need wedge out, or I need a track bar up, or maybe just a simple air pressure adjustment. And all those things that you can, all that information you can give the crew chief makes all the difference in the world and what you're going to have in that next race.
You know, where Michael Self in the early stage of this race was able to drive away from this field, both Michael and Brett Holmes now kind of keeping pace here with Ty Gibbs.
You know, like we just talked about, you come in on that break, that race break, and you make a few adjustments, and you make your car a little better. And as the race progresses, you should see these guys get closer in speed. And this doesn't surprise me in the least bit. You know, Michael had a fast car before the break, got a little tight, they've adjusted on it, now they're running right with it.
When Ty Gibbs made his Pocono Super Speedway debut, he did so in a very strong way, finding victory lane. But Brett Holmes has raced her a couple of times. Michael Self has raced her in an Xfinity car. How much does experience at a facility really help you in the current, in the now? Does it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
There's been a little bit of a track change here, too. They've repaved it.
Yeah, but you know what? It's still Kentucky. Yeah, it has a little different line. 1 and 2 is quite a bit different, but you know, you hear Michael right there, he's barely lifting out of the throttle, and that's what it was before with the old configuration. The hard part about Kentucky is right here, entering turn 3. You're turning into the corner before you ever pick the banking up, and that's one thing that has stayed consistent through all the changes. So it's still Kentucky, and experience makes a huge difference when you start this race. Now, these guys got some laps under their belt now, so I don't think that's quite as big an advantage.
Alan Cavana has more.
You're just talking about experience. Michael Self, he cited his experience as one race in the Xfinity Series where he finished 36th because he went down way too far in the corner here in Kentucky and crashed when trying to make a pass. So he talked about different series and prior experience here. He says, yeah, he learned a lot. He says, don't go too far down in 1 and 2 when trying to make a pass. We'll see if that experience pays off now.
Well, he's about to experience the 21 car getting all up in his back window. Sam Mayer has already passed 11 cars from the start. We knew he was going to be California strong in addition to strong here at Kentucky rather. But he is coming in a big, big way.
We've been watching this the last few laps, and yeah, Sam's run him down, but the closer he gets to Michael Self, the tighter his car is becoming because of the aero push that we talk about all the time. And you can see right there, it just doesn't roll the corner like it needs to. The further back he gets, the more air he gets on it, so it gets a little better. But it's hard when you get up tight to these guys.
Chandler Smith last week at Indianapolis led 162 of 200 laps. The 18 was up there early, but late in the race, Sam Mayer came a-calling then, too, chopping what was about a 3.6, 3.7 second deficit and got to the back bumper of Chandler Smith. Made one attempt with a couple to go, and that was really the difference. But Sam Mayer's got a fast race car. As Michael Self looks like maybe he's picked up his pace, perhaps a little bit, too. Still nobody getting away, though. Ty Gibbs is not running away with this one.
It's been holding pretty steady there, right on the 1 second mark. You know, we watched Michael here really lifting out of the throttle right through the middle. His car's, we talked about it being tight before the race break, and I think it's trending back that way because that was a long time off throttle right there. See how he does down here in 1 and 2. Lifting out of the throttle, but not quite as much.
Gibbs, Holmes, Self, the top 3 as we approach the halfway point of the General Tire 150. It has gotten racy at the front of the General Tire 150. There's your race leader bottled up by a lap car. Michael Self looking to the inside of Brett Holmes. Will take the position away. And will Michael Self be able to track down the 18 before our second race break?
Well, he certainly wants to, because if he's finished the second in this first break, that means he's going to probably start on the inside of the front row for the restart. He does not want to do that. And his car's coming alive. They have definitely fixed what his problem was at the end of that first stage.
And now Brett Holmes has his hands full with Sam Mayer looking to take third place away. Top two have broken away. Now the battle for third. Jason Kitzmiller, lap car in front of the 18. As these race breaks get closer, it seems like the racing action picks up a little bit. Again, trying to feel out your race car, tell your crew chief what adjustments need to be made, and if you can make a pass and get a position, it's big.
You know, Ty's kind of driving away a little bit here. I wonder if he was being a little cautious around those lap cars, or maybe got in too deep, slid up something, but he's starting to drive back away from Michael here.
So many questions kind of seemingly coming to life. Where did Brett Holmes, what happened to him? Sam Mayer's been coming the entire day, but they're having a hard time getting around the 97. This time Holmes is able to get around the Petersburg, West Virginia racer, Jason Kitzmiller.
Wow, that cost Sam right there. Kitzmiller run him down in the corner instead of letting him go. And look at the gap that Brett Holmes put on him. Of course, right now, Sam's in a good spot. He finishes fourth before this first break and ends up starting in the outside lane. That's really where you want to be on that restart.
So coming down to complete the 60th lap. Gibbs is going to have his hands full. Michael Self with the look on the inside. Battle is for the lead before the next caution flag flies.
Very impressive right there by Michael Self, running down in that gray and still maintaining his momentum. Let's see as Ty drives away from him on the straightaway. Oh yeah, Ty's up there. He's getting loose as this run going. Michael barely out of the throttle. His car's handling really well.
Question is, when will that caution come out? That's up to ARCA's discretion. Michael Self is chewing up the back bumper of that Toyota.
Oh, Michael got a little close and pushed out of the groove when he got up behind him.
Down now to complete lap 61, working lap 62, and that caution is out. It's Ty Gibbs' third start on a track over a mile. He has won the other two. That happened at Gateway in 19, Pocono earlier this year. Can Mark McFarland get him the distance after the race break pit stops coming up? All questions to be answered. Tomorrow, NASCAR Cup Series action takes off from Kentucky Speedway at 2:30 Eastern on FS1. Then, for the first time ever on Wednesday, the NASCAR All-Star Race takes place on the short track at Bristol Motor Speedway. You think you've seen fireworks. Check out all your favorite drivers in action beginning at 8:30 Eastern on FS1 on the Fox Sports app. That battle in Bristol going for $1 million. Cars on pit road right now. Alan Cavana, crew's starting to work on them. What are you learning?
Yeah, Ty Gibbs calling, you know, we saw him get a little loose getting into the corner, but still he maintained the lead throughout that stretch that we just saw. He says, you know, in one corner he's a little tight, in the other corners he's a little loose, so expect a small adjustment there on top of the 4 tires, a nice cold bottle of water that he got. The driver pursuing him is right there, the 25 of Michael Self. He says he was a little snug at the end of that run, but the driver, Michael Self himself, made the call. No changes to the car. That's how much he likes it right now. He thinks he can go out there with the car he has right now, past Ty Gibbs, and get the checkered flag.
Of course, Michael Self, the Daytona 200 winner, a string of 13 consecutive ARCA race wins for Toyota dating back to last year, but Chevrolets of Holmes and Mayer are third and fourth. The Ford of Deegan is fifth, and we still have 38 laps to settle this thing. Todd Bodine, what do you say we take a look at our Richmond Water Heaters mid-race recap? Take you all the way back to the initial start. Michael Self on the outside grabs the lead ahead of Ryan Repko. Ty Gibbs slots himself third.
Haley
Deegan got racy.
Got racy, getting underneath Brett Holmes. You know, first time on 1.5 miles. She's trying to keep that top 10 streak going.
But Holmes was pretty racy himself and getting up to the second spot at one point during this race, getting past Repko right here. Brief stoppage for the 69. Scott Melton got up into the wall right in front of our race leader, but no issues for Michael Self, and that led to a little last lap dash before our first race break. Ty Gibbs said he was going to be aggressive, and Ty Gibbs lived up to those words.
Gets a great run off of 4, getting under Michael Self. Michael had no defense but give up the spot.
22 laps led for Michael Self, but it is Gibbs that takes the car to the checkered flag, if you will, for the first race break. Then in the second one, look at Brett Holmes getting racing in the 23. There's where he gets up to second, inside of the 25.
We heard Michael talk about being tight, and that's what happened right there. Brett Holmes trying to get the lead from Ty Gibbs. Can't quite pull it off.
And even though it looked like Ty perhaps slowed a little bit, here's Ryan Huff. It's the lap traffic that helps Michael Self get back up into second against the 23. Ever since Ty Gibbs took that lead before the first race break, the driver of the Monster Energy Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing, trying to add to the Gibbs legacy here at Kentucky, continues to be the race leader. He's led 40 of the 62 laps we've had in the books so far. And that sets up a nice little interesting 38-lap dash for, well, as Alan Cavana said at the beginning, all the money, all the marbles, and the trophy.
Well, what's interesting to me is Michael Self didn't want any changes in his car. He's got a lot of confidence in that thing.
Can Ty Gibbs hold on? It's the General Tire 150, final 38 when we come back on FS1. Right now, the ARCA Menards Series up next, NHRA qualifying, and then at 6 p.m. Eastern, it's the NASCAR Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series. The Gander Trucks 225. You know something about them trucks, don't you?
A little bit. You think those last two nights have been exciting? You wait till tonight and watch these truckers get out there.
Of course, this man right here, the NHRA champion, Tanner Gray, out here conducting laps. Definitely wants to win this race, but also is planning for his 325-mile quest. Green flag back out. Gibbs on the outside.
Michael Self with a great restart. Actually in front of Gibbs in the corner.
And it's drag racing preceding drag racing. Who's going to win the race off two? They're still side by side.
Yeah, but Ty's got that preferred line down there, 3 and 4.
Michael Self not going to give it up.
Oh,
Close corners racing, and oh, here we go.
Incredible.
What a job by Ty Gibbs. Going to give up the lead. How surprising we don't have two crashed cars. We still may end up with one. There is shucking and jiving going on all over.
Oh, a little payback right there. Not a doubt in my mind. Ty moved him right out of the way. But incredible. You're right, Dave. That was absolutely incredible driving.
And look who's inherited the lead. Right now it's Brett Holmes. But Sam got loose. Prize.
Yeah, Sam got loose underneath. Brett had to take and save that thing.
And that opened the door for Haley Deegan. Where did she come from?
Haley. She's smart. I'm telling you, this young lady has done a great job this year using her head and being at the right place and not panicking when things going on like that. She's got herself up in the second with all that going on.
Ty Gibbs has been shuffled back to 5th, now 4th to the inside of Tanner Gray. Where's Michael Self? He's way back in 9th. They were the leaders when this thing started just 2 laps ago.
Well, they may have been leading, but they're lucky they're both not on the record right now, because that was a wreck that didn't happen.
And meanwhile, Brett Holmes, the Munford, Alabama native, leads this race. The man who doesn't have any support from any team, any manufacturer. As you look at the replay here, the 18 and the 25 nearly got together. Is today in his 67th start. There's the 23 taking the lead, bringing Sam Mayer along with him. It's today the day that Holmes wins.
You can see right here, Ty gets right down on the side of him. You know, I mean, I'm going to put a little blame on both those guys there.
It's just racing, right?
Michael drove down there, but Ty did not give him any room, and you have to give room on these racetracks, 1.5 miles.
Battle for second. Sam Mayer's caught Haley Deegan. A little touch of the fender there, maybe stealing a little bit off of her. 21 now races into second. Deegan, though, going to look up back on the inside.
Trying to cross over, couldn't quite get back to the throttle in time.
Or maybe dirt racing, doing some slide jobs here.
Yeah, there again, I'm going to give Haley some credit right there. She didn't drive it down in there over her head. She let him have the spot, and she's still racing. And her car's loose. Man, she has got her hands full.
And Ty Gibbs now looks like he's still got all the speed inside of that Monster Energy Toyota.
Yeah, I think Ty's on a little mission right now.
And we've got a 4th caution now on the racetrack. That's because Thad Moffitt has found the wall.
Yeah, he's gotten into a hard right front. The deck lid is off of it.
That's going to make life tough for that Ford racer. Who was in about 8th place. Not only did he hit the side of the race car, looks like he backed it into the fence as well. Found the going tough in Phoenix. Other than that, as well as Pocono, was putting together a really good year.
On his onboard camera.
And that's just how fast it can go away.
Yeah, we watch out the front of that thing. You see it sliding up in the corner and gets up in that dark black, and there's no grip up there right now. It has not been run in. And even though he was about half throttle, he just couldn't get it slowed down and came around on him. What a shame. I talked earlier about how consistent he's been all year, running and finishing around 5th, 6th, 7th, and doing a great job, and it won't be the case today.
Well, team will take a look at that, do what they can. He's part of the DGR Crosley 4 team. But there is definitely a lot of work to be done there. Maybe be able to get him back out to be determined. But a moment ago, you saw what looked like a nervous Shane Huffman, crew chief for Brett Holmes. Nervous because his driver is in the lead, but Michael Self, Ty Gibbs, and about 3 other cars. Boy, there was about a 5-wide battle going on here just a little bit ago.
Well, you come down through here and you're Drew Dowler in the middle of that. Your spotter's saying 1 inside, 2 outside. You're like, are you kidding me? I'm 4 wide. You don't know what to do. You just hold the wheel straight and hope for the best at that point.
Here's where you think perhaps Tyson, you know what?
Oh yeah.
Me, I'm going to help you.
Yeah, that was a little payback. There's not a doubt in my mind. You know, we know how aggressive Ty is, and he was definitely not happy with what happened. He let old Michael know about it.
Well, Gibbs will line back up in 4th. This is only going to bunch the field, so it's kind of like bonus if you're a fan at home and like to watch close racing, because as crazy racy as that was to start this final racing segment, you figure it's going to be that exciting again. Let's check in with Alan.
And the 23 Brett Holmes took advantage of the opportunity, finds himself in the lead. Let's go back to that last break with the pit stop, though. They made a slight adjustment to tighten it up just a little bit, but there was also a very specific change that Shane Huffman, crew chief, wanted in terms of saying, don't fill it full of fuel, just put a little bit in there. Presumably, he's talking about how it'll affect the balance of the car. Maybe, Todd, you could explain how that works for a driver and the machine under him.
Well, that's exactly right, Alan. That's a call that a crew chief can make. Obviously, they don't need a full tank of fuel to get to the end of the race, and by not putting the fuel in, it actually doesn't put the weight on the rear of the car of the fuel. So we call it front to rear weight, and it has more front weight now. Obviously, the car was getting a little loose as the run went, so by not putting it full of fuel, it's going to keep that car a little tighter as the run goes. So hopefully that'll pay for him as the race gets down to the end. You know, obviously it wasn't what he wanted, and you know, Shane's a smart guy. Keeping that fuel out is definitely going to make a big difference.
Well, this is the 17-year-old out of Franklin, Wisconsin, Sam Mayer, in the California Strong car number 21, runner-up position right now, trying to better that. He was the runner-up finisher in Indianapolis out at Lucas Oil Raceway last Saturday, a warm, steamy night that saw him challenge the 20 car of Chandler Smith. As we go back and show you highlights from that, Ty Gibbs was strong early, beating and banging his way to the front, and ultimately, though, he would get passed by the 20. Then motor problems set in. Something internally knocked the alternator belt off. Meanwhile, Hailie Deegan was racing with Michael Self, got to the inside of him briefly. Hailie Deegan making a strong run there. Left tire goes down late. That's the only thing that breaks a top 5 record this season for Michael Self, but Chandler Smith just way too strong in getting his 9th career win. Is the Shoe Chief Showdown race leader on the strength of that Phoenix win, as well as winning out at Lucas Oil Raceway. And the points as they run right now, what was 12 has been shot down to 9 thanks to Michael Self being scored in position 7. Really, Moffitt probably hurt himself there, but the top 4 are going to make this racy.
Yeah, this is a very interesting points race we got. You know, only 19 points in the top 4. That's tight. And like you said, Michael Self definitely didn't do himself any favors by what happened.
Mentioned Chandler Smith, Ryan Repko racing that car in the ARCA division this afternoon. Coming up, though, tonight in the Truck Series, Chandler Smith will be racing there. Haley Deegan just continues to whittle away, continues to learn, still on every lap that's been out there. She's running them. So she is definitely learning in a big, big way here, and she'll start third. So she'll be kind of tucked maybe on the inside here behind Sam Mayer. You think she can make a run on the inside? Is this track loosened up with the heat, the traction compound?
No, we've watched this inside lane.
Man, what did I just watch? No, of course not.
Yeah, we watched this inside lane in the Xfinity Series, and it just never was there. And it seems like it's the same way today. These guys aren't running down there, so there's no rubber being laid down to help gain some grip. So anytime you start on the inside, it's a severe disadvantage. And you know, we watched a couple times though, like the last restart, Michael Self held his own on the bottom through 1 and 2, but he had to give it up getting down into 3 and 4. Decided he wasn't, and that's when him and Ty got together. So it's definitely a disadvantage for Haley on this restart.
Well, she's in the middle of a great run, top 10 in her last 8 races. That's how you get laps. That's how you get experience. And if you're thinking to yourself, maybe you're not, deep into the motorsports world, how do I know that name? Deegan, yeah, she's the daughter of motocross legend Brian Deegan. Well, Pocono a couple of weeks ago, that's when Ty Gibbs, the 17-year-old, made his super speedway debut. And how did that debut go? It went in a very powerful way. Ty Gibbs, he's led laps in his last 9 starts, led the most laps in his last 4 ARCA starts. He's dominating the day. And it is official, Ty Gibbs has won at Pocono. Picked up his 3rd ARCA win in just his 13th start.
What an outstanding drive for that 17-year-old.
Not a bad way to make your super speedway debut. An amazing kid who's led laps in his last 11 races. Nobody, Alan Cavana, has led more laps this year in a limited engagement. He's looking pretty strong again here today, running 4th in this restart.
Yeah, and that's after leading for a bunch of this race, but they just suffered a setback, as we saw, getting knocked out of the way by the 25 car. But I'm with his crew chief, Ty Gibbs crew chief Mark McFarland. What do you tell your young driver to get him back to the front and get this checkered flag?
That's a tough thing right now. He's pretty fired up, so the biggest thing is just losing track position. Getting out in clean air is huge here. So he's fired up. He's ready to go. Get a good restart here. Maybe we can come out in P2 and challenge Brett for the win. So he's got a good car.
You've seen a lot of racing. Rate that save for me.
Yeah, that was a good save. I got to give him that. So it's all good. We're ready to go.
That's Mark McFarland. Mark McFarland along with Shane Huffman, the crew chief for Brett Holmes, the race leader. You know what they have in common?
What's that?
Both racing the Xfinity Series.
Yeah.
For junior. The
yeah. I should have known that. They're both very
good crew chiefs.
Very good crew drivers, and that'll make a better crew chief. So that.
Alan mentioned that save. Here's what it looked like. Boy, we thought the 18 was going around for sure. Didn't happen though. What do you think is going to happen on this restart? Same kind of craziness?
Well, we'll see. That it just depends if the inside lane, if the guy can, which is Sam Mayer at this point, if he can get a good run through 1 and 2, stay underneath Brett Holmes down the back straight. Yeah, anything is possible in 3 and 4, but it's hard to hold that bottom line down there. And that gray you see right now is such a distinct difference. I think if Sam could get his right sides up into black and Brett Holmes would give him a little room, well, maybe he could hold it through 3 and 4, but I don't think you're going to see Brett Holmes giving him any room down there. And that's exactly what Ty did. He didn't give him any room, and they almost both crashed.
Sam Mayer has passed 13 cars and actually is credited with leading a lap, the 4th different racer to do so, but it's Brett Holmes that will control this field here for a 25-lap dash to the finish. Look at Mayer on the inside, though. What a great start he got.
Yeah, I don't know what the rules are in our kind of restart. That looked a little suspicious.
A little early, perhaps?
Yeah, a little early. Yeah,
21's going to get a drive-through penalty, a tough break.
Yeah, that was...
Oh, we got Haley Deegan into the wall. She was right in front of Drew Dollar. And just as quickly as it happened for DGR Crosley teammate Thad Moffitt, the same holds true for Haley Deegan. The top 10 streak is busted. A very costly learning experience here.
What a shame. Well, hopefully we get the replay on this.
Not sure what happened, but
it's
yeah,
really,
the replay will tell us all.
It's really easy coming off a turn 2. If somebody is outside of you, the spotter angle can kind of sometimes fool them and say they tell them they're clear and they're not. And you know, we'll have to see what happened here. Very unusual to see that happen, get turned up like that.
Well, she's working with spotter Coleman Presley, who helped Austin Cindric to the win in Xfinity the last 2 nights. Helps Brad Keselowski. They talked a lot about lines. They talked a lot about everything that went on in here. And
yeah,
what do you think?
I'm a pretty black and white guy, and I'm going to tell it the way I see it. And I think Drew Dollar was in the wrong right there. Haley, obviously she didn't give him a lot of room, but he had 6 inches up on her bumper, and you can't think that you're going to get that spot. At this point in the race, you got to give that up. And Haley held her line. She didn't come up down that straightaway, so very unfortunate.
These are the top 2 drivers, too, in the Bounty Rookie points battle there for Rookie of the Year. Deegan leading Dollar. Dollar going through some of his issues in Indianapolis. Here's perhaps a better look.
Right there, he gets in the back of her. Yeah.
There's the first bump.
Yeah, you know, Haley definitely didn't give him any room, but at the same time, if you're only 6 inches up on the car in front of you at this point in the race, you give it up because you're taking a chance of that car putting you in the wall, messing your fender up or giving you a flat tire or something. So, you gotta experience sometimes pays, and so a lot of these younger guys just don't understand sometimes.
Well, it does happen in racing.
That's racing. That's right. Yeah.
Meanwhile, the 21 gets the drive-through penalty. That's going to help Sam Mayer, that caution that came out. Meanwhile, for Haley Deegan, here's that restart we're talking about. The 21 getting on a little too soon. It's the 23 that has control of the restart. The 21 jumps it.
Brett did a great job on that crossover right there. That was awesome.
And obviously then for Haley Deegan, the fact that she has competed in every lap this year, that will end as a result of this caution. Still now with 22 to go. Brett Holmes is your race leader after this caution. Drew Dollar and Haley Deegan in Kentucky. Haley Deegan's Ford is on the record at the General Tire 150 after an incident involving Drew Dollar. Alan Cavanis caught up with her.
And she's seen the replay a few times now. Good day running the top 5 most of the day. A lot of frustration, though. What did you see in that replay?
Man, it's just everyone's close racing, and some people just don't know how to race on bigger tracks sometimes. Unexperienced, there's a lot of unexperienced drivers out there, and we're all learning, and let's see. I wasn't moving up. I was right there, and then I just got hooked. So it happens, I guess. It's racing when you have like a lot of drivers with inexperience out on the track. It happens, rookie mistakes, and so it goes around, comes around. But at the end of the day, we had a fast car, race clip DGR. Everyone gave me a fast car this weekend. We were fast in practice. We had a good run going there. There's a lot of mistakes being made by other drivers that we were capitalizing on. We could have had a good points day, but it sucks for it to end like that. But it happens, it's racing, I guess.
You talk about an experience. You got some experience today. What did you learn about your mile-and-a-half capabilities?
Don't assume people that are just going to give you a little room here and there. So I guess we learned from that and be extra cautious around unexperienced guys and just go from here and try to capitalize on every single race and get as many points as we can back.
Sometimes you learn even on the bad days, guys.
Oh, definitely learn on the bad days. Probably learn more on those, don't you, Todd?
Well, unfortunately, you don't learn anything when your car's sitting in the garage area tore up. You know, she was doing everything right, getting some experience, and it's a shame that she's not going to be able to finish the race.
So we're 19 to go now, with Gibbs back up into second, starting inside of Brett Holmes, who continues to be the race leader, top 10 and 20 of his last 21 starts, but still yet to win. Is today the day Munford, Alabama racer can hold on?
Now this is a position that Ty Gibbs has not been in all day. Inside row on this restart. Will he understand what's going to happen when he gets down there in turn 1? Oh, he spins the tires again. Having a tough time on his restarts, but that gave him the spot to get up in line and getting second.
Meanwhile, Drew Dollar, who was involved in that incident with Haley Deegan's on the inside of Tanner Gray for third. Gray, though, will probably have the momentum coming off of turn 2, the same line that Michael Self is running and grabbing 5th, away from the 20 of Ryan Repko. Gibbs has caught Holmes, and Holmes had a little wiggle there. This could be the move of the race.
Ty got a great run through the middle of the corner. Like you say, Brett wiggled a little.
And Holmes not going to give it up.
No, holding tough on the outside. Oh, Ty gets into his quarter panel. That's aggressive Ty. We know this. When you race Ty, you know that take a big chance of that happening.
So after leading the first 42 laps, Ty Gibbs is back in front of this field now.
Race right behind these guys. Drew Dollar, Michael Self. It was the other way around. Michael was on the outside. Drew passed him. Michael did the crossover, got back under him.
Self back up into third. Here's Sam Mayer racing Repko for a position. That's for 5th.
Ryan, very smart, giving Sam some room right there. He don't want to suck him around, get wrecked out of this race.
I guess you can officially say now with 15 laps to go, it is go time at Kentucky. All holds are all. There's no friends no more.
Wow, look at Sam wrap the bottom of that corner. Gets a run on Drew Dollar. Incredible
on the inside. Replay of Dollar getting together with a 17. Some close quarters racing here.
Yeah, he pushed up into him.
Tanner taps the wall. A look for Michael Self's onboard camera.
Ryan is definitely not making a lot of friends on this racetrack today. So he gets down there and pushes up into Tanner's quarter panel. Great job by Tanner to not lose it. Still got in the wall a little bit.
So Dollar now being scored in the 5th spot ahead of Repko. They're on board with the Richmond Water Heaters onboard camera. Ryan Repko's 5th career start. Did get a second in Talladega. That was the last time we saw him on the ARCA Menards series. But he finds himself now almost 5 seconds behind Ty Gibbs, who's opened up a 1.3-second lead now over Brett Holmes.
Yeah, Ty's got that clean air, and the car's rotating good, and he's just driving away from him here. 12 to go. Make laps, don't make mistakes. He's running up in the black a little bit. That's pretty interesting. Coming up a little bit. The car looks so good. It's the one thing I've watched in his car in the last few races. It just gets the middle of the corner and just rotates. Mark McFarland doing a great job of keeping that car turning, but not doing things to make it loose. And that's really hard to do. But when you can get it, you can get that combination, it's going to be fast. That's what we've seen. A lot of speed out of this 18. Every single race he's run.
Well, next time by the starting line, there'll be 10 laps to go. Youngest ARCA winner in the previous 24 events, this being the 25th ARCA Menards Series stop here in Sparta, Kentucky. That was Kyle Busch back when he was 18 years, 8 months of age. We'll give you all the particulars on Ty Gibbs' age if he's able to hold on as the 97 car. Able to get the free pass a little earlier, able to get past Tanner Gray there for 9th. A top 10 run for the driver out of Maysville, West Virginia.
Yeah, we saw Jason go a lap down earlier. Obviously not handling the way they wanted. Got some adjustments. A little better. Of course, Tanner's car's not what it was earlier after getting in the wall. I'm sure it probably knocked the toe in.
Oh, he's had a rough year on the ARCA Menards series. An oil leak in Daytona, spark plug issue in Talladega, hit the wall in Pocono, hit the wall today. That's why Tanner's back in 10th. Meanwhile, Drew Dollar is trying to hold on to 5th. It's Ryan Repko in that Craftsman car has his eyes set on that position.
Yeah, you can see Ryan right there gets through the middle of the corner and just car didn't want to turn good when you get in that dirty air. Drew Dollar arcing it down in there, making it turn to center. It's a good race right here.
More excitement tonight when the Gander trucks take the Kentucky Speedway at 6 p.m. Eastern. We said it earlier, we'll say it again. You thought you saw fireworks last night? I think you're seeing some right now. You can expect more of the same tonight at 6 Eastern.
Ryan needs to run down in the corner and get the left front of his car down below Drew's car. Try to get some air on the thing. Try to make it turn a little better. It's the only way he's going to get by him unless Drew Dollar makes a mistake, which right now it doesn't look like he's gonna. He's just kind of cruising right here.
You know, Drew kind of pushing and shoving his way up into that position. Was in the catbird seat when Michael Self got together with the 18 car earlier this year out in Talladega. Yeah, Drew Dollar able to avoid all of that carnage. Michael Self made a great save on that day. The 15, one of those drivers we've seen in victory lane this year.
We're pretty evenly matched right now. I don't think Repco's really got anything for him.
10 of the second separating their last lap.
Yeah, you can see right there that Drew Dollar just rolls the center of the corner so much better. It gives him a better run up off the corner. It's going to be hard for Repco to get around him here.
6 laps to go, coming down to the stripe. It will be 5 to go here. 7.5 miles to complete this 150-miler. We're car number 18, Ty Gibbs, who told Alan Cavana early he was going to be aggressive and trying to get back around Michael Self, did so. Got back around Brett Holmes a few moments ago. He has led 55 laps so far on the 95 we competed, and he is in control of this race, better than a second ahead of Brett Holmes.
Yeah, it's Brett Holmes is holding his own, though. About a second every those last 4 or 5 laps. It hasn't gained any. And that time he got hung up on that lap car a little bit.
About a second back from Holmes is Michael Self. Talk about a guy who knows how to rebound. I'm not sure what kind of a basketball player he is, but seems like Michael Self can pull a finish from what was going to be a pretty questionable one previous. It's happened all this year. It's happened the year before. Wow. Listen, if it comes to experience and championship medal, he definitely has that. He's experienced a lot recently.
Yeah, it surprised me. He run down into great through 3 and 4. That's a good sign for tonight's truck race. If he can run down there and make some speed. You see he gets in the middle and turns down there. Well, he got a little loose right there. That's a good sign for this truck race coming up tonight.
With Haley Deegan being knocked out, Michael Self's point lead will grow. Deegan has fallen to 4th in the standings. Meanwhile, Ty Gibbs now is in the waning moments. 2 laps to go. 3 short miles for Ty Gibbs.
Yeah, right here he can back her down to about 95%. Just make sure he makes no mistakes. He's going to cruise home.
Previous to this event, he has won all 3 starts on tracks bigger than 1 mile. And as he comes to the white flag, he is 1.5 miles away from making that 4 for 4. And it looks like what has become a 13 consecutive string of race wins for the Toyota brand will grow to 14 into turn number 3 and 4. One more time through those tricky turns.
We talked about the speed in this car all year long. You see it again today.
And at 17 years, 9 months, and 7 days of age, Ty Gibbs becomes the youngest winner in ARCA Menards Series history at Kentucky Speedway. 4th ARCA win in his 15th start. He's won 3 of the last 6 he has entered. There's no argument about the quality of that equipment, but you do have to have a driver to put it in the right positions, and Ty's turning it into a pretty special one.
Absolutely. You know, we talk about the aggressiveness Ty has, and how sometimes that can get you in trouble, but it's a whole lot easier to pull the reins on an aggressive driver than try to kick him in the rear end and get him going. So I think this young man's going to have a a great future behind the wheel for sure.
And what a great win for Toyota as well. Where's the Camry built? In Kentucky.
Right down the road. I've been there before. It's an incredible place to visit. Plant.
Now it's fun time.
Trying to burn them tires off. We'll see if he makes them go flat here.
Together a pretty solid one at winning Pocono. Not too bad here as he parks it on the finish line at Kentucky Speedway.
He's getting pretty good at it. He's getting some experience.
His third start, rather, on tracks larger than a mile, has won all 3 of those. Brett Holmes does come home at career best second, but still that number will grow to 67. Ty Gibbs, last man standing at Kentucky, and why not? He is certifiably hot right now.
That Monster Energy Toyota is absolutely strong every week. This young man getting it done behind the wheel. Mark McFarland doing a great job on the box. Does not surprise me at all.
Let's go down to our winner with Alan.
Ty Gibbs getting out of the car, still smoking in that cockpit right now. Look, there were times you dominated this race, you got the victory, but you also, it didn't come easy.
Yeah.
You got spun. What's going through your head when you had to make that save?
Yeah, you know, my life goal is always try to just keep going. I never try to give up. And there's a time right there I could have gave up, and I did it, and I kept pushing forward. My team did, and we came home as winners. So it was a fun time. I can't thank my team enough, man. I can't thank everybody that does this, the whole TV crew. I heard you guys watching the race last night, so that's cool, and all the work you guys put in. So, you know, I just can't thank everybody enough. And, you know, we come back and we try to win this thing. So it feels good to win my first mile-and-a-half race and first super speedway race. So just can't thank everybody enough. Terrible Herps, Toyota, Monster Energy especially. I love those guys, Mitch, everybody back there. Just they're family to me. And you know, this is a great deal. I've came here as a kid, and now I come here one just like Pocono. So it's just amazing. I can't thank everybody watching and all you guys, all my fans support. So thank you so much. This means the world to me. I can't thank my family at home and everybody here.
He came here as a kid. He's 17 years old. Tell me about the 25. You mad at him? You got the win, but it didn't make it easy on you.
Yeah, you know, I'm not really mad at him. It's hard. This track is so line sensitive, and when we went down in there, we're both racing our guts out. He drove it in hard, and like he kind of just clipped me in the right rear, and fair game. You know, I'm luckily I didn't get in the fence there. So stuff like that happens. It's racing. Like I said, I don't know why I swerved like that, but I just was really mad. But you know, it happens. What happens to you, or what happens to me, will happen to you. So, just one of those deals. It just sucks, but you know, it's just super line sensitive here. Like I said, I'm just out of words. You know, I don't know what to say. I'm just so excited, and just so much going through my head right now.
Yeah,
so,
man, get some water, enjoy it. Ty Gibbs wins in Kentucky.
And the grandson of the NFL and NASCAR Hall of Famer Joe Gibbs adds to the Joe Gibbs racing legacy. 5 Cup wins, 6 Xfinity wins, and today at the General Tire 150, Ty Gibbs and the Monster Energy crew celebrate winning the ARCA Menards Series. Back to Kentucky in just a moment.
After 4.5 months away, the NHRA is back on track today. Coming up next after ARCA Racing, the world's fastest, most explosive sport returns from Indianapolis. We kick off the weekend with qualifying action with all 4 classes in the Mellow Yellow Series on FS1 next.
Coming up next, NHRA qualifying from Indianapolis as after months long off, they get back to work. And then, of course, tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern, the Gander Trucks 225 coming your way right here on FS1. Meanwhile, Brett Holmes, a career best finish for him. Alan's caught up with him.
Yeah, came home second place. Look, you guys were happy with practice. You knew you had a lot coming into this race, and we saw it out there, that power. What more did you need, though, for the win?
You know, second sucks, you know, but we're the underdog here. You know, we don't have any manufacturer support. We don't have any sponsors. We're a single car team. We're not a cup team, so it's tough for us. And we've slowly been building this entire time. It's taken us a few years to do this, but I'm damn proud of my team. And you know, we're knocking on the door. We're right there. A little bit beating and banging for the lead, but you know, I don't mind that as long as I take it back the next time. But
yeah, tell me about that, because you were going to have to be aggressive. Anybody was to get the lead, and you were a part of that a few times.
Yeah, it was a handful. You know, I had to bring a little of the old dirt late model skills from the old days back, but it was fun. You know, I had a lot of fun there. You know, we fired off kind of loose after that restart, and it was a handful, but we're pushing, man. We're really close, and I can't be more proud of my team. Like I said, second's tough to swallow, but we'll get them next time.
A career best for Brett Holmes, guys.
Thank you very much, Alan. Our General Tire final results. Ty Gibbs comes from third to win the race. How about the hard charger? Jason Kitzmiller, +7. Not the hardest charger, though. Sam Mayer in that 21 passed 11 cars to finally finish in the 4th spot.
Yeah, he ran good. His first time on a 1.5 miles. Got some experience. Got it to the end of the race. You know, that's good for him. Ryan Repko survived it, got to 6th.
When it's all said and done, Haley Deegan is able to come home in the 14th spot, not the points race she wanted. He got together with Drew Dollar, but Sam Mayer top 5 in 10 of his last 11 starts. And speaking of Drew Dollar, let's catch up with him, the 5th place runner, standing by with Alan on pit road.
Yeah, nice top 5 for Drew Dollar. Look, you wouldn't have the fastest car in practice and didn't have the fastest car at times during this race, but you come home with a top 5. Tell me about your day.
Yeah, you know, overall we had a pretty fast car. A lot of it was just me getting used to racing on this PJ1 and running on the 1.5 miles and all that stuff. It's definitely different tempo than what I'm used to, but it was a blast. Had some hard racing there. Luckily, these General Tires, they're just so, they're really indestructible. You know, I thought we were going to blow a few of them. They were beating and banging, but, you know, General Tire stayed on this thing.
There was a moment during this race. You get into Haley Deegan. What happened there? It was tough to tell.
Yeah, I'm not going to pin that on her. I think that's kind of, oh, there's the video there. Outside. Yeah, not clear. I didn't have any room. It's hard coming out of 2. There's no room. Everyone's fighting for that PJ1. I know it's far for the spotters. They don't have a good view, so that's kind of from the outside. I think that's kind of on the spotter. Got to tell her outside, and maybe he did, but that's just hard racing there at the end.
You talked about learning a lot today, what you needed to learn. So what is your takeaway from this 1.5 mile race that you're going to do in the future?
Yeah, going to go back and watch the video and talk to my crew chief and owner, Billy, and figure out what we can do. Camry had a ton of speed in it, and just going to keep getting better.
5th place for Drew Dollar.
Drew Dollar with a win this year, solid finish. That's his analysis of what happened in the incident with Haley Deegan, but it's Ty Gibbs to the victor. He gets all the spoils, including a fresh can of Monster Energy to celebrate here in Victory Lane at Kentucky Speedway. Still more General Tire 150 info headed your way. NASCAR Xfinity Series check. ARCA Menards check. Next up for racing here at Kentucky this weekend, the Gander Trucks 225 tonight before Race Hub gets us kicked off for the Cup Series tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. Fireworks tonight, Todd Bodine, in that truck race?
Oh, you kidding me? It's a truck race. There's always fireworks. I used to love racing them, and I don't know if I might even love watching them more because it's so fun right now that there's such a deep field in the truck series. I literally think we got 15 guys who could win a race any weekend, and it's so much fun. The young guys get after it like we saw Ty Gibbs today. Take no enemies, and you bring your friends with the track with you, you know? So it's always fun to watch them.
You thought the 4th of July was over a week ago. Think again. Check it out tonight. Speaking of which, there's a man who started first, was bought as low as 9th at one point. Boy, Alan Cavana, Michael Self sure had himself a whale of a day.
It was a day, and Michael Self comes home 3rd, maintains the point lead. How do you describe a day like this in Kentucky?
It was exciting. It was probably more exciting than I wanted it to be, but actually, you know, it was a pretty fun day. It was definitely hot. It was an exciting race. You know, our number 25 Sinclair Oil Toyota was really, really fast, to be honest. You know, these guys made a lot of changes, good changes, all day. You know, we were really, really strong that first run there, but for some reason, we just couldn't. We were really, really edgy, really loose on restarts, and, you know, we lost track position on that first one. Because of that, and, you know, fortunately, we were kind of able to fight through the second stage there, get some track position back, and then had a shot at it there on the restart of the 3rd one and got inside a tie, and, you know, kind of figured that was my shot at clean air right there. So
yeah, the big moment in this race was with the 18 car, and both of you having to make pretty good saves. Tell me about that.
Yeah,
seeing it.
That's, you know, it's a learning lesson for the young kids, right? I mean, if you're tight to a guy's right rear in these things, just like Xfinity car, just like a truck, I mean, you just lose all that side force down there, and you saw that a handful of times today. You know, that's exactly what happened to us, and then that's a little retaliation. You know, probably not necessary right there off Ty, but he went on to win. He did a good job. like I said, happy for us. Decent points day. Thanks, General Tire, for putting this race on. You know, it's fun to come here to Kentucky and, you know, exchange a mile and a half for a mile and a half as we lost Charlotte to come here. But, you know, I just want to win. We've had really, really good cars the last couple of weeks, and I just haven't been able to win. So getting frustrated about that, and you know, we got a couple of good tracks coming up here. So
yeah, bigger picture. You got the points lead. You have good tracks coming up. What do you know about your team going forward?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've been building really good cars. Like I said, I think we had the fastest car here today. You know, Kansas is probably my favorite track on the schedule going there. I really, really like Iowa. So it's, you know, some good tracks coming up. Obviously, the addition of Daytona, a road course, is something I am really, really looking forward to. We just gotta stay clean. Maybe get a little bit of luck on our side. You know, less mistakes by me, and you know, I know we can get a couple more wins.
Michael Self brings it home with the top 3 today.
Big win at the Daytona 200, 5 top 5s in 6 races. That's how you end up with a 22-point lead over a very gamey Brett Holmes. But look at that battle between 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. In fact, technically, we've got a tie for the 2nd spot.
Yeah, poor Elliott Deegan lost all those points. Only 9 points behind coming in, 24 points behind going out. Thad Moffitt also had issues, got in a wall, 53 back, but both of those teams will rebound, I'm sure.
Well, it was a 100-lap race, 150 miles that saw 4 different leaders, but 2 of them that really dominated. Early, it was Michael Self in the 25 that led the first 22 laps of this race, and it started with a great start. Didn't spin the tires there.
No, for sure. We thought he was going to run away. Haley looking pretty good here, getting by Brett Holmes and getting some experience doing what she's supposed to do.
Holmes to the inside of Ryan Repko. 20 car been so dominant no matter who's driving it, Repko or Chandler Smith, but we mentioned Holmes has been pretty gamey. That was until Scott Melton brought out the early caution. He got into the wall right in front of your race leader. Michael Self able to avoid that, though. But that set up a little 7 or 8 lap dash to the first race break, and a good restart again here for the 25. But the 18, according to Alan Cavana, said, I'm going to be aggressive in this stretch, and boy, was he ever.
Yeah, he wasted no time getting by Michael Self. We heard Michael say his car wasn't really good on restarts, and right there it shows up. Brett Holmes follows Ty through.
So the green flag for the 2nd segment saw Brett Holmes get to the inside of the 18 here. Could he hold on to the lead? No.
Yeah, it's a tough position to be in. We saw it later in the race with Ty and Michael Self. Michael getting back by Brett Holmes here back in the 2nd.
The help of the 10 car. Then he would get to the inside of the 18 here. Touchy moment there. We thought the 18 was going around, but that opened up the door for Sam Mayer, one of the race leaders, and Brett Holmes, the other one. 5 wide here coming to the start-finish line. Hold on tight.
Great racing right there. I love it. Nobody panicked. Everybody kept it going straight. Ty gets in the back of Michael Self.
But tell me you didn't think that the day was done for Gibbs and Self at that point.
Yeah.
Think again, a caution here when Drew Dollar gets into the back of Haley Deegan. Plus her streak of completing every lap this year. Look for Michael Self's car. Deegan's day is done. Holmes feeling the pressure, though. Little tap from the 18 once again, being aggressive, taking back over that lead spot. And when it's all said and done, it's Ty Gibbs, his 4th ARCA win and just his 15th start. He becomes the youngest winner at Kentucky. 17 years, 9 months, 7 days of age. The ARCA Menards schedule coming out for the month of August. You can catch us from Kansas on July 24th. Then we're going to Michigan as part of a NASCAR doubleheader, the Daytona Road Course. You heard Michael Self talking about that. But ARCA Menards, ARCARacing.com will have all of your action. NHRA qualifying coming up from Indianapolis as they resume their season next, back-to-back weekends from Indy. And then it's the Gander Trucks tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern. For Tom Bodine, Alan Cavana, and our entire crew, I'm Dave Reef. You'll see us next Friday, July 24th at 10 p.m. Eastern from Kansas Speedway. Ty Gibbs wins at Kentucky.